Good morning. I hope you're doing great today. Let's see if I got everything set up right. I think I do. Hey, well, I have a very specific request today. And so I'm asking you to help me. You'll see it in the caption right now, and we'll come back to it. I want to start, as always, with the Pledge of Allegiance. But I've been listening a lot to people talk about the elections, 2020 elections. I'm reminded, by the way, that now that the media, the fake news media and big tech have decided to acknowledge that President Trump was right about the Wuhan lab, suddenly they're willing to talk about it. I wonder if there'll be a time where they talk about the 2020 election and they say, yeah, we know we judged everybody and called you names. If you called it the Wuhan, if you called it the China virus or the Wuhan virus, we called you racist. That's what the media did. And now they're admitting, oh, we might have been wrong. Maybe there'll be a time where when they called us all, deniers, maybe they'll come back and say, hey, we found this out. But here's I'll get back to that. Let me go and make sure we do the Pledge of Allegiance. I was so inspired by my friend Glenn, who always asked me to do that when we did our Periscope. So here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, everybody. So thank you. Listen, what I want to ask you today is a big favor. We now have a growing. Oh, let me shut that off. Sorry. You don't want to see the flag when you can look at what I'm saying. Well, maybe you do want to see the flag, but we have a growing problem. And President Trump tweeted about it yesterday, or he Trumped about it yesterday. And it's a problem of voter inconfidence. That's my new word. A lack of confidence in the election from voters. A third of Democrats have a problem, a bunch of independents, and lots of Republicans. They just think the elections in 2020 weren't run very well. And again, I tell people over and over, don't worry about why people believe that. It doesn't really matter why they believe it. Do they believe that the election didn't go well because of Hillary Clinton's 3.5 years of blaming the election systems and the Russians? Do they blame it on the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania, who said the election machines don't look very secure? Do they blame it on President Trump, who was complaining? It doesn't matter why they blame it. What we have is a problem. Let's address the problem. Voter inconfidence. So I'm asking you, if you're listening to this, do me a favor. My email address is up on the screen. It's ed@phyllisschlafly.com, ed@phyllisschlafly.com. You can go on social media. Direct messages are open on Twitter, over on Parler and Gab and other places, Facebook. I guess on YouTube, you might have to be, if you're watching on YouTube, use the email address. I prefer email, but whatever way you want to reach me. And tell me what you saw and what you heard at the election and afterwards. It doesn't matter if you can't prove it. What I'm trying to get a sense of is what people saw and heard. And when I say saw and heard, you might have seen it or heard it in first person when you went to the polls, maybe before the polls, maybe afterwards. And it might be secondhand. It might be your cousin told you this, or your next door neighbor told you that. Send me an email and give me what your thoughts are, your feedback, what you saw and heard. Because what I'm trying to do is develop a better sense of what we the people, not the pollsters, not the politicians, what we the people saw and heard. We've got to be better. Well, let me pause. I was on some calls in the last week of people who are fighting the election fraud, the election issues. Let's say that better. Whether it's the audits, whether it's how some things were done. And always what we're stuck in is a conventional war between 150 or 200 or whatever Perkins Coie Democrat lawyers and we the people, or more conservatives, Republicans, activists, whoever. And you're finding that we're stuck in a conventional battle, meaning the parties are doing the same things over and over again and talking about it, and the media is ignoring it, right? That's the other detail. The media is ignoring it. I've been looking at the audit in Maricopa County, and I've been really impressed with how they've done it. They've done it with no tax dollars, as far as I can tell. I think it's no tax dollars, and they've been totally transparent. But I can tell you, before I looked into it in the last 48 hours, the impression I got was that the Arizona Senate was spending tax dollars and it was done in secret, because that's the little bit that's percolated through the media is an attack. But here's the problem. We have 3 or 4 areas in the country where people are saying, hey, what happened? And those 3 or 4 areas are being a center of an onslaught of the opposition who are trying to shut it down, and the media trying to shut it down. What I'm trying to do is say to we the people and to us, what did we see? What did we hear? What can we do about it? How do we create a fuller sense of what's happened? And that's what I'm asking for. Now, I've done a lot of listening to this, by the way. I've been asking in places like Pennsylvania and Philadelphia, or Montgomery County and other places. I've been looking at a lot of the filings and reading the filings and saying, hey, what has exactly happened? Because in a lot of the filings, you'll see affidavit after affidavit of what people saw and heard. It's very valuable. It's incredibly valuable, actually, to get a context of it. And I've been reading, AmericanGreatness.com, American Greatness, which is amgreatness.com, is really phenomenal. I've been reading there, other places, the coverage of what we're seeing. So I've got a lot of data in my head. I've got a lot of reading done. What I want is more of we the people, what we saw and heard, because we've got to build, again, that network, the mosaic of what happened. And we can't wait for the media to cover it. We can't wait even for the politicians to cover it. We actually can't wait for most of the elected officials, because they won their election and they're invested in saying, let's move forward. And we can't move forward without, 1, getting more answers, and 2, understanding what the problems were. Because even if the problems are just about inconfidence, voter inconfidence, I don't know if that's a good word. I got to come up with a better one. But if it's just about the voter confidence question, that's a big enough reason. Paired up in my research on this is Justice Clarence Thomas and Justice Stevens, a conservative and a liberal, who both say there is an interest in government worrying about the confidence in the election system. There is an interest. We have a legal interest, by the way. I mean, legal. We have a personal interest. We have a societal, cultural interest, of course. But we have a serious legal interest. Thomas, Stevens, liberal Democrat, a liberal conservative, believe the same thing. So we've got to get to the bottom. So do me a favor and take a few minutes. And I don't need you, by the way, totally confidential. I'll keep it to myself. My email address is up there, ed@phyllisschlafly.com. And what I'll do is keep it confidential, keep your name off of it if I ever even talk about it. But if it's something that we can engage on, I may call you or ask you to get me more. This is something that, how to say again, it's not flashy. The flashy is the politicians and the think tanks that say, we're having a coalition meeting. I don't know if that's going to change anything. You know what just happened? From November 3rd until today, most of the Republicans in power at the state level didn't do much. They said they cared. They said they were worried. They said they heard us. And most of them didn't do much at all. At all. Now, they probably were scared off by the fake news media and the January 6th move, the great hoax, all these things. But it doesn't matter why they were scared. It matters that right now, we're almost to the end of May, when most of the state legislatures are out of session soon, if not now. And they really didn't get enough done. And what they did get done is nibbling on the edges, because they said they would address what they saw the problem was, as opposed to what we the people know we saw and heard. So do me a favor, take a few minutes, send me an email, or go on social media, whatever it is, and let me know. I promise you, if you send me, and by the way, it doesn't have to be, I'm not asking for sworn testimony, what you saw and heard, what you've heard from your neighbors, what anecdotal is fine, third party is fine. I'm just trying to get a context of what people are thinking and talking about, and build a sort of mosaic. And again, I promise if you email me, I'll email you back to say thank you. We can be in touch, and I need your help. So thank you for considering it. And I will be talking more about this very soon. Talk to you soon. Thank you.